Hello ladies and gentlemen, Panzer here, and today I'm taking a look at Super Splatters. Now, Super Splatters is a game made by Spiky Snail. If you haven't heard of them before, it's probably because they were involved in a lot of mobile games and that before. So, you might not have heard of their stuff before. But now, they're coming onto Steam with this. And Super Splatters is supposed to be a spiritual successor to the original Splatters game, which was on iOS, and I believe maybe Android. I'm not entirely too sure about mobile games. But anyway, so this is a physics puzzle platformer, and a score attack sort of game. So what actually happens is you have these little guys who are little balls of gel, and when they hit something with a sufficient amount of force, they explode into liquid. So when they explode, I think it's easier just to kind of show you, because a lot of the things in this game are a little bit difficult to explain using words, put it that way. So there's a couple of different mechanics at play. What I'm going to show you now is the freestyle mode, which is where you get most of your score from, actually. And all of this is on an online leaderboard. So with an online leaderboard, you can actually see the scores of people all around the world. And with that, there's a sort of competitive nature about this, which I will show you in just a moment. So here we have our little slimy. I don't know what you would call him, little splattery. And this yellow cursor, which I'm controlling using the mouse, is how you aim. The only thing is, it's not that precise, and you'd only know how you'd be aiming once you get ready to launch. So you launch using the left mouse button, and you sort of fling them, and when they hit something, they burst into gel. The objective is to hit those little spiky balls, which will explode. They're called fireworks pods, and they'll explode into fireworks. That's what you're aiming to try and do, essentially. So we'll just hit all of that. At the same time, you get additional points for doing stunts. So, for example, going down the slide, as you saw earlier, was a stunt. Hitting a particular thing to cause the gel to shatter is also a point, or a stunt. And there are a few additional mechanics as well. There is this flipping mechanic. So, for example, I am now going to shoot over here. I hit the spacebar, I can reverse the direction, I can reverse it again, I can keep doing this infinitely until I get the desired effects. Which could be that. So once all the firework pods are destroyed, all the slimes disappear, and you get a new set of things to blow up, essentially. It definitely has a very high skill ceiling, despite being what people might describe as being relatively childish. I would say that it's a very childlike looking cartoony game, but it has such a high level of skill involved that I'd say it's one of those definitely easy to pick up, difficult to master kind of game. I mean, arguably you could say that about a lot of different games, but the use of this flip right here that I'm doing to kind of get everything, that requires a lot of skill. Exactly how much skill I could show you using one of the other game's features, which lets you see other players' rounds. I think that's the operative word. Rounds. Anyway, so that was a poorly timed slide, and now it's a waste. I'm hoping this does something, but I guess not. Also, as any YouTuber will know, the scores at the bottom aren't measured in points, they're actually measured in views. The whole premise of the game is that these slimes are actually stars on a sort of action game show, where they attract viewership based on the stunts that they do. It's a little bit strange, but just go with it, because it's kind of like that. But yeah, so this is the freestyle mode. Most of the rest of the of the levels are like training levels, which are tutorials essentially. So this one was where they show you how to use the slide. Here there'll be another. Airstrike is actually a mechanic that allows you to launch again. So you can launch more than once, provided your slime is still intact. And then here's the very first training that you do. So all of these, sorry, here it is. Slam, flip, and all that. So all of these things have these little stars at the bottom, which is very typical of mobile games. And all the levels, they vary very, very slightly. Like, this is one particular stage. This is one particular stage. All of these missions take place on the same stage. So once you get to learn that level, you kind of know what's doable in that. And there's a fair few of these. You can see this, I think Hippo is the last one. But this is not an early access game. This is a complete game, which means I will have to judge this based on that. There's also part 2 and part 3. So that's actually a fair few number of levels already. But let me just show you something that I believe is a problem with this game. And this may annoy you slightly. First thing first, it's not the video settings. For a mobile port, this is okay-ish. Because this is, after all, a 2D game. I would like there to be more options for the graphics. Based on the fact that this does actually have fairly decent 3D graphics, I would like to be able to change a couple of things. But I don't foresee this having a lot of problems to run on even, I'd say, lower spec machines, because it's frankly not that high fidelity. But here's the problem. There are no rebindable controls. Look at this. I can't change a thing. If I could, I have no idea how. You can play this using an Xbox controller, but again, you can't rebind any of these. And honestly, with this kind of precision, you'd probably want a mouse for that. It sounds strange to say, even though I think running with a controller might work. But from what I can see, the aiming just requires that amount of precision that you'd probably want to use a mouse. Yeah. Aside from that, which I really don't like, the fact that you can't rebind the controls, I don't like that. There's also a show-off arena, which is basically your stats. So there's this sort of rank up system, and these are the different sort of, I suppose, techniques that you learn. So there's a few of these things that you can learn. But the next thing I want to show you is this thing called Splatter TV. Now, this is supposedly the end result of all those things that you learn to do. But what it is also is the, this is the leaderboard. This is an online leaderboard. Considering this game has only launched on Steam a few days ago, this is quite surprising that there are this number of players with such high scores to begin with. So maybe they were playing in the beta, maybe they played it on the mobile, I have no idea. I'm noticing one name that constantly comes up down here. There are a couple of issues with some of these not loading. But what this allows you to do is it allows you to watch how they got it. Now, bear in mind, a lot of games do have online leaderboards. I'm well aware of this. So leaderboards are not new, but not all the time are you able to watch a replay of them. I know racing games have had this feature for a while. I think one of the Gran Turismos had that, where you could download replays and watch them. This is actually a really good feature, because if you want to learn how to play the game better, watching the best is probably one of the ways to do it. Yes, you can say like Twitch streaming and YouTube videos might be a way of doing it, but having this already built into the game, like, I could watch this and go and try it later on. Now, I've actually already watched the rank 1 player, and I can tell you they are amazingly good, so that's why the score is so much higher than all the rest. So, let's start with something simpler. So, okay, there's a person called Noodles. They did 80 stunts and had a maximum combo of 56. So let's try that. You can also filter among friends, or you can filter your own scores. So there's definitely a competitive nature about this game. So there's no video. Okay, so only those with the bronze thing next to it has a video. I think you possibly have the option of uploading a video or not. I'm not entirely certain, but I think maybe that is possibly an option. maybe the best players don't want people to know how they did it. Whatever the case is, so this is Combo Rush, which is supposedly in front of a live audience. And you can see every move that they make, you can see how they did it. And this might give you an idea of exactly how this game is supposed to be played. So I am just going to commentate on what's happening. So you can see here we've got a red and green, and it's like a Christmas sort of theme. And here you go, first flip, second flip, third flip, fourth. And there goes the airstrike. Clearly detaching the entire green chain from the side there and flipping multiple times just to get them all coated. And you can see right there, it's just almost completely taken out the fireworks from that side. But those couple that are in the corner might have actually completely screwed him up. We'll see how it goes. But you can see just the amount of flips that they do, the really controlled use of the flip, especially combined with like properly timed slams and airstrikes and things like that, definitely went a long way to kind of improve the score. It's really amazing. Like I couldn't do this. Maybe given enough time, you could eventually learn how to do this, but no. This is insane levels of things that I just couldn't do. And you can see that the objective is to hit 3 stars. That's the first objective. But then having the, you know, to get the highest score possible, that's the second thing. So you can see this is kind of how the score attack section of the game goes. Also, you can combine the slimes together to have more juice that comes out when you complete it. Look at that. Like, it's a lot more. So you can coat a lot more of these fireworks pods. Basically, they have to be completely surrounded with the liquid in order to explode, if that makes sense. But what we're seeing here as well is the number of times they've actually restarted. Like, this is, I think, the 3rd restart now. So you can see even with the highest online leaderboard scores, you can see the number of tries it takes. Although, that being said, I did watch the #1 ranked player, and they did the entire thing in a single run. I have no idea how. It could even be a developer, who knows. But yeah, that was done in a single run, which is amazing to watch. I think what we'll do is we'll close this, and I'll just show you a brief section of what that looked like, because you're probably wanting to see exactly how good players can be in this game. And just watch. I'm not even going to say anything. Just watch this. And there you have it. That's just the first round, netting 2 stars out of the... It's unbelievable. But if you want to see more, you can definitely check this out for yourself. The thing is, there is such a high skill ceiling in this sort of game that it just completely blows the mind when you see somebody really do very well in it. But anyway, that is Super Splatters, and the big question is it any good? I don't know. This is the first game that I really don't know whether I can say I can recommend it or not. For a simple reason, it is a physics puzzle platformer with a score attack feature. Highly competitive in terms of the the leaderboard. But the thing is, it has such a high skill ceiling that it could even be demoralizing for the casual player, even though it looks so much like a casual game. I'm gonna say that yes, it is a very good game. Okay, it is a good game. Definitely good for a few hours of entertainment. And for its price, look, of course, you know, they say the price should never really affect whether a game is good or not. In this case, because of the number of hours you could potentially spend on this, the price kind of matters. So, this game is $9.99 on Steam. Now, some people might think that's a bit too much for this sort of game, considering it is essentially an upgraded or glorified mobile port. But I have to say that it is definitely good for several hours of play. The art style is not my thing. I mean, it's reminiscent of things like Worms and all that, which I enjoyed, but this somehow doesn't seem to fit to me. I don't like the way the liquid moves around, and I don't like the way that looks. But that's just a personal preference. You might not have that problem with the game. But just the fact that it is sort of this liquid-based sort of game could be your kind of thing. So, is it any good? On its own, straight up, yes, it's a good game. So, if this sort of puzzle games, or score attack sort of games are your thing, go and check it out. Okay, that's all there is to it. My name is Panzer, taking a look at Super Splatters, now available on Steam for $9.99 or your regional equivalent. Thank you very much for watching, and I will see you next time.